guys.
I definitely got kicked out. I don't know how it happened. I have no idea. I didn't even get like a phone call or nothing. It was just
Nah,
like, oh, it's over.
Instagram's hating, bro. Straight up. But let's reel it back. Let's rewind.
Yeah, basically Texas was just going through the worst, bro. Like
Hmm.
freezes and the city they didn't even like budget for like salt trucks or nothing like that. So everybody's just at the crib. A lot of people lost power.
Hmm.
I'm fortunate that I didn't, but at the same time, it really sucked because I couldn't get to my friends and my friends couldn't get to me who didn't
Hmm.
have power. So I have friends here who didn't have power for over 36 hours, didn't
Damn.
have water, and it was crazy. So it was a real smack in the face because Wednesday it started to like lighten up a bit. But
Hmm.
then by that Thursday, it snowed again. So it just like stacked back on itself. But literally, I promise you, I'm not dramatic like this. Saturday, you couldn't tell anything happened. You couldn't
Really?
tell. You had like you could see that there was a little snow still piled up in some places, but you couldn't tell that a disaster just happened in the cities. It was really ridiculous. So on top of that, obviously the state governor has lifted all mask mandates and opened everything 100%.
That shit is crazy.
Like literally everything 100%. Schools, anything you can think of is open. And there are people who are happy because the economy, this and that. But obviously, they're like the biggest grocery store out here is called HEB.
Hmm.
And HEB has said, no, we're still doing a mask mandate in our store. So there are a lot of places that are going to be like that. But for the most part, man, it's a Republican state. No matter
How you flip it, yeah.
Yeah, no matter how you want to view it, even if you're a Democratic city like San Antonio, it doesn't matter. Like the people that run the state have their main agendas, and they go with their main talking points, regardless of how anybody feels. To be honest, so it is wild to be in Texas right now, but I'm gonna be alright,
I feel like Texas is always on some like crazy wild shit. So I
bro.
guess it comes with the territory.
Man, I didn't think about that before I moved here, but also it's not exactly like I picked it. Like God had me move here, so I was just following what I felt was the voice of the Lord. But bro, the moment I can get out of here, I'm out of here. Like the second that
Where
I can go.
where's your dream destination to live?
I don't well live. I would love to live in London just because it's my favorite city, but it's not
Hmm.
like they're not exactly problem free. Like pretty much
No.
no place is problem free. Either there's a crazy government or a crazy climate. So climate is probably part of why I would probably never move to LA as much as I
Mhm.
like it.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not trying to get nothing burned down by wildfire. I can't really I don't really want to move in the middle of America because there's Tornado Alley and stuff like that going on. Too north is too cold. It's
I hear you.
But I love Chicago. I love DC. I actually thought I was going to be in DC longer than I was.
Hmm.
I would love to move back there one day. So, yeah, those are London, DC, and Chicago are the three places that I probably think about most when it comes to like somewhere to live, somewhere to move.
I actually have to go to Chicago. I've been to DC a few times. I haven't got to experience Chicago as much
You
as I'd love
haven't
to.
been, oh my, Chicago in the summer, especially in the summer, please. Oh my God.
I'll make it happen.
It's perfect. It makes no sense. It's perfect. I don't know why. I love it. My manager lives there. I was living there like months at a time
Hmm.
from like age 25 to 27. So I spent legitimately 6 months a year in Chicago, just staying with my manager, connecting with people. That's how you got some of the features like um, All I Need with No Name, how I got connected with Saba and we eventually did our song, how I got connected with Mick Jenkins, we eventually did our song. Um, Thelonious Martin doing Grown Woman,
Yo, he's
Peter
incredible.
Cottontail doing Do Not Disturb. Like that was just me staying out in Chicago for a bunch of time.
Wow.
So
It's
yeah,
crazy you mentioned No Name too, because that's kind of my introduction to you. That's like the first record I heard, and I was just
yeah.
kind of like, "Oh, this is a unique name." And then, honestly, not for nothing, and I'm sure she's in here. My best friend Christy put me on to you, and she's been listening to you for like years. And every time she like the music you make brings like restores a very interesting feeling. Like it's very like right now R&B is such a beautiful place, but it's like you kind of restore that classic feeling that I love, but it's still
Wow.
very like new age. So so shout out to my best friend Christy for putting me on, and she's the one who met you out in Boston too.
Yeah, shout out Christy, 100%. It's funny because you say I bring back the classic sound, and I don't necessarily feel that way. I feel like I've
I feel
kind
like you restore the feeling rather.
okay, I can go with that because I feel like I've challenged a lot, and because I do that, that's to a degree why like you get a split on whether or not people really like my music, which is,
Hmm.
I anticipate that. I'm okay with that. So it's that is the goal though to bring back a feeling once again, feeling in general, to bring that back in music. That's part of why the album title being "If You Feel," just like if that's if you have that capacity, I want to bring that out of you, like even
Hmm.
if you didn't know it. So if it's gonna be a song like "So Much More," or if it's gonna be a dance record like "Find Me," if it's gonna be a old school record like "I Feel," if it's gonna be something that's like more upbeat like "Want, Need," or "Surf," like I was just trying to find those pockets to find something for anyone who feels. So yeah, that's the goal.
Let's talk about like just if you feel as a whole. Like the Mariba record is special. There's a lot of special records on there. So let's just take us through the album. Like, tell us like the writing process. Obviously a lot of all your music is very personal. I know you're writing from a place like right here. So like, just take us
Yeah.
through the if you feel sessions and just kind of seeing the reactions. I was just on your YouTube and I saw someone post like I to me.
Again. Okay, there you go. I missed what you said about.
Yo, it's crazy because I literally told all my friends, don't call me during this. And of course, the friend I told the most times, don't call me, just call me. So Kevin, fuck you. Anyways, as I was saying, with let's just take us through the album because I feel like like there's the process, seeing the reactions now, people saying crazy things like, yo, I'm gonna play this at my wedding. Like, how does that
Yeah.
feel? Like all these songs are coming from your own place and just seeing how people love it. I saw someone call it perfect the other day on Twitter. Like, how's that feel for you?
I'm gonna do a quick plug here and say that I made a podcast that I went over a few of the songs in depth. I talked about the sessions and just kind of went into I guess the central thought of the song and how that connected in my life. So it's called XO Creative Club. If anybody wants to go listen more in depth, I only did 10 episodes, just one season right now. I'm thinking about
Mm-hmm.
another season, but so I'm not gonna go as deep as I'd like to into all the songs, but you can hear more there. So, I mean, just throughout the album, the order of them is kind of crazy. I think the first song I actually did, that first song I recorded was Something Changed.
Mm-hmm.
That was with Business Boy. Me and Biz had worked before. The first time we ever worked together was Afraid. We did that from scratch in person. He
Wow.
made the beat on spot with Theory, and I wrote the joint on spot. And so that worked out really well. We've had a great connection ever since. So
Business is incredible.
he's fire. He's on so many things. He just went platinum with Rihanna and Party Next Door again. So he's just incredible.
Again, he's out here.
He's fire, man. So yeah, that was the first record we did, and I was really like just retrospective. I was
You're
really
good.
introspective at the time, just trying to figure out where I wanted to go with the project, who I felt like I was, face some things I hadn't faced in music yet about myself. So I started there. I don't remember the order of everything I recorded, but I know that that was the first session. The third session was So Much More. I got a chance
Mm.
to work with Camper. That man, I didn't know, bro. I honestly, he's responsible for her Volume 1, Volume 2,
Wow.
and I believe whatever the next album she's gonna do, he's responsible for that as well. Because they've been working again. They didn't work together during her EP phases, but
Mm.
yeah, the next thing she does is gonna be crazy because it's him. He did B7 as well for Brandy. So
Wow.
Camper is just I didn't know his catalog when I stepped in that room with him because I'm just ignorant to be honest. And so
Nothing
I
wrong with
brought
that.
him, huh?
I said nothing wrong with that. Happens.
Yeah. I brought him the idea. I had it voice recorded on my phone. I had been thinking of this like Drew Hill old school thing in the shower. And I brought it to him like, yo, what can we do? And so the drums, because it's just me, I'm just like I'm just doing it out like that. He's like, that's the intro. I was like, oh, all right. He's like, go record that.
Oh
So
shit.
like that was like a really, really cool session. We did that from based off of the idea on my phone from start to finish. Marcus Samaj was there with me, helping me write the record, which I typically don't have a writer. Matter of fact, that was the only time the entire album I had one. But I love Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
He is responsible for a lot of songs, but probably your favorite song on Snow Allegro's last album, Marcus is probably involved.
Oh, so
He's
you've been working with some very heavy hitters.
Yeah, man. And I didn't know when I met him either. I met him before that. But I met him at a writing camp that Keep Cool did. But man, I was just like, oh, he's a cool dude. Oh, we vibe. And then he ended up at the session with me for the album. And then I kind of see everything he's doing after that because I follow him on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And he posts every time, a record comes out that he helped write. And I'm like, nigga, you write for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. So yeah, that was the third day. I was only in LA I got there on the 2nd and I was gone by the 14th. I was on the plane by the 14th. I was supposed to be there the entire month of March of last year, of course. So I was there from March 2nd to March 13th, really. And I made 5 songs that stayed on the album. I made like 8 songs, but the 5 that actually made the album were in that time span. Really short. Doesn't always happen that way. So
Yeah, it's crazy to do that many records in that small time is nuts, especially R&B records.
Yeah, I just came off tour. Literally, this is the schedule. I did a tour from it was literally the day after Thanksgiving
Mm-hmm.
to right before Christmas. Came back late January, and I finished by February 18th was my last show in Miami last year. That next week, me and my wife did like an early anniversary celebration. And then the week after that, I was in LA to record. I didn't know. I'm just finished performing this album. I don't know if I got anything else like new in my head yet,
That's
as far
crazy.
as like a direction. So to have 5 songs make the album out of that time period, that's like, I don't know, bro. It just felt really good to get it done like that. So that was the 3rd day, but literally the 4th and 5th days I was working with this group called Bregma.
Mm-hmm.
So they played this beat, and I said it to them verbally. I was like, I don't know what this means, but I'm hearing surf. And they were like, just go with it. And so literally surf was written that day. And while we're in that session, I said, hey man, I want to do like a 4 on the floor kind of like Kanye West Fade or Lost in the World. Like I want something kind of dancey in those veins. That was a really vague description, but I was like, that's something I want to try. And they were like, we wanted to make something like that for you. So, let us get into it. The next day they played me 2 beats and one of them ends up being Find Me. So it's just like, we were on this roll of like, oh, that made the album, that made the album, that made the album, just going. It was really cool time, man. So anyway, let me fast forward through it all. Just
listen, you ain't got to fast forward nothing. I love process album talk.
it was a lot, but it just came together so well. And it was the first time that I had stepped out of working by myself and like legitimately continuously working with other people to get my music made. And it's something I needed to do. I felt like I needed that to get next level because there's only so much I can do here in this room, in my headphones, with my laptop. Like, that's only going to go so far at some point. Funny enough, I told you I had to come home and I still needed to finish the album.
Yep.
So I finished the album that way, the way that I was used to, just by myself. But the records that I did in LA with So Much More, Surf, and all those other records, like those are some of my favorite songs I've ever made, simply because of the energy in the room, just being able to bounce ideas off of each other. And now that's the only way I want to work. Like I'm mad introverted, so that's why it wasn't that way. But now I'm like, the next time I can get to LA and it's safe, I want to go and I want to work. Just to give you an idea of the schedule for that album, what it was supposed to be, I was scheduled for 23 studio sessions between March 2nd and March 30th, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I was looking at it like, bro, I don't have this much to say. There's going to be some days we just making stuff up, bro, for real. And there were, even in that short time span, there was at least 3 songs that I recorded that I hate. And they will never drop because no.
What makes you hate a record? Like, is it just a bad record, or just kind of like
Yeah,
I know my potential?
it's a mix of both because it's like it's
Got it.
not good, and even like I have an idea, so I want to try it because maybe it could be something.
Hmm.
But then you listen back and you're like, I just couldn't catch what I was going for. So yeah, there was like this kind of duet style slow jam joint I was gonna do with somebody. Not like slow. It was more like, how can I describe the feeling? Almost like early 2000s, kind of like mid tempo duet style. And
Okay.
it just didn't come together the way either of us wanted to in recording. I had a joint that was supposed to feel more like a summertime bop, and then by the time I got to the chorus, it felt more like auntie R&B. Like it felt like "Step in the Name of Love," and I was like, I'm not doing this, guys. But when
Yeah.
it first dropped, even still, when it first dropped, it's like, oh, okay, okay. Then by the time I get to the chorus, it's just like, nah, bro, I'm not, I'm not dropping this. So there are records that it just doesn't all come together well, and you know when it does because you keep playing it and playing it.
Hmm.
So most times the song will tell you. So that's just where you got to be at with it.
It's so like refreshing to talk to an artist and just hear how like much you care and how much you like the thought, like even like remembering specific dates and knowing where you were. Like,
Hmm.
it's amazing to know how much you care about the craft. And let's
Man, I've been trying for this since I was 12 years old. My brother was in a three-man rap group in high school, and he was the producer.
Okay.
And so there were times. First of all, we had like some equipment in the basement. There was a
Hmm.
keyboard. Back then, you could make the beats on the keyboard with like a floppy disk. You had to save all your beats to a floppy disk. And I played drums, so there was an electric drum set. And it wasn't until we got that drum set that I was even allowed in that room because I didn't play keys. My dad and my brother did.
Okay.
That keyboard was too expensive for me to just mess around with.
I can feel
But
that.
by the time my brother left, he took all his beats with him. He went to college and took his beats. So I was like, I'm going to try to make some. And so I've legitimately, I mean, I'm not a producer anymore,
Hmm.
but I've legitimately been going for it in some kind of way since I was 12 years old. And I mean, as a singer, I've only been going for it. Oh, wow. Okay, not only. It's been about 8 years as a singer now.
I was gonna say
But
because you transitioned from Christian rap
yeah,
to singing, and yeah, and I think I want to say you've been active since like 2012, 13.
yeah.
That's
Even as a
crazy.
solo artist, I've been active since 2012. And before that, it was a lot. And that's part of why I feel like sometimes I'll wake up and be like, what do I have to say? Because I've been saying something in some form every year in a project, a full project since at least 2004.
Hmm.
Like just writing something, just trying to get it all made. All these full songs that I've put together. Um, and it's been a lot, but I love it. There's always something new to do, somewhere new to go. Last night or 2 nights ago, I wrote a song about how my dad met my mom.
Oh
And
shit!
my mom was engaged when they met. And long story short, they've been married for 36 years, 37 years.
Wow.
Uh, so, like, it is not this sweet song you would think. I just kind of took the idea of, like, yo, my dad was like a cold nigga, bro.
Yo,
Like,
I was gonna say that. I'm like, that's cold as hell.
so it's not this, like, sweet love song. It's like it's a I'm that nigga song. And it's like just kind of taking these different aspects that are still a part of my life and with as much information that I know, just try to build from that. And so there's always something new that we haven't really said before. To me, every song eventually becomes a remix of something that you've done before,
Of course.
because there's only so much to talk about. I think there was somebody in film said there's only 7 stories to tell,
Hmm.
and I forget what they are, but whatever. But in general, there's still nuances that haven't been touched before that we can bring out. And that's what's exciting about it. That's why I love songwriting more than any other part of music. I hate recording. I love performing, but I love writing the song the most. So yeah, man, it's a journey, and I'm just in love with it.
That's beautiful to hear because again, like you've been active for a very long time. I feel like you're kind of hitting new plateaus. So to still hear you're still very excited and love working is like makes me as a fan happy, and I'm sure it makes everyone in the comments happy. Everyone keeps mentioning the Sango, so we're just gonna get into it. You have a very recent tweet. He
Yeah,
said y'all got one. Let's talk about these new joints that we're doing, and
No,
like,
so it's not even a new joint. It's like legitimately the first song we've made together this year. That's what he was talking about. So it's only one, and it's the joint I just told you about.
oh
Writing,
wow, perfect.
yeah,
See,
that was the joint I wrote. I'm tempted to play. It's a short song. People are going to be kind of mad at that, but I'm tempted to play a little bit of it.
yo, listen,
Um,
if you want to play
I
a
don't
quick
know,
little
bro.
snippet, for the people, I won't say no. I won't say
Look,
no.
let me figure something out real quick. Let me get off camera.
Say
Let's
no
see
more.
what,
All right.
let me see what we can do.
You want some snippets real quick?
I gotta time this joint right, so y'all don't get too much.
Hey, I'm listening.
Oh yeah, all right. Let me make sure it's still not too loud. I changed it earlier.
Let me.
I never know how to act when a song is playing, cause like I'm supposed to do it like a music video. I'm saying, do what you gotta do. Shooting like a free throw, Tarantino, who gon' get it, get it, we don't. I just gotta make a move right now. Get it up, that's the move right now. But love, if you are down, I'm up in the secret part of town, so that you can tell me secrets, I won't leak it out the sound.
This is hard.
Let's get real. All these phone calls, tell me how you feel. All these FaceTimes, reveal your smile. All right, that's enough. That's enough.
Yo, that shit's
That's
hard.
enough. That's Sango, bro. Sango, hey, he puts me on something crazy all the time. Been on, I've been on all kind of beats because of this man, right?
He
So
just gets you.
his next thing was like, "Yo, I got to get you on a Detroit beat." So that's a snippet of like, the first attempt right there.
Can
And
we
I
talk
love
about?
it.
My bad.
Go ahead.
I was like, can we talk about like I know you guys met through Twitter and you guys been working through each other through like the selection connection, but like let's talk about your friendship now. Like I read that you guys are like great friends, your wives are friends. Like it seems like somehow Twitter made you guys into like the homies, and now people are. I don't know if you peep the comments, but there's people saying like you and him are like Wade and LeBron in Miami. Real comment.
Man,
A real comment.
we talk about that because somebody made that meme a while back. Uh, so that's how we interact with each other. But yeah, he is the first person to take a chance on me for more than just like one track, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, he he was so much further than me in 2012. It didn't make any sense to work with me. I had just put out my second project. I was just trying to find myself as an artist. And he hits me up. I remember he had like 3,000 followers on Twitter, which was a whole lot back then.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just like, dang, man, like he got to be legit. He got 3,000 followers. Like, what's up? So, um, yeah, he hit me, wanted to work because he heard a ballad that I did called Laminin. And so I was like, cool, yo, like let's do something. And he sends me maybe like 4 beats, and I hate all of them. I don't like any of them. I remember I'm just like this sucks. This sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because I wasn't used to it. I wasn't familiar with what he was doing. And I was just like, everything just felt so odd. But I wasn't in tune to like the beat world, the beat making world quite yet. So I'm just
Absolutely.
trying to figure like what is he doing? Like this is not it. Right. So one of the beats he sent me was called Middle of Things. And the version of it was just like I didn't really like it. So I guess he didn't either because a couple months later, he remade it and sent it to me again. And I was like, I like this. All right, I'll like work on it. And I just named it based off the beat because I didn't know where to go. I had never done anything like that before.
Hmm.
So I just created this story and of this love story because that's where I was comfortable. But then saying that God is in the middle of all of it. Like that
Okay.
was the idea, right? So I put the song out. Whatever. I had a thing called SPZRK3 for my old name. It was like a 3-song EP that came out on March 3rd of 2013. And I put that joint out. That song's on there. And he reposted on SoundCloud. And at this time, I don't know if I've ever had like 500 plays. And
Oh
that
wow.
joint had 1,000 plays so quick. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's crazy. And then next thing you know, that joint got 30,000. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So eventually, I think he wanted it for his album. So
Hmm.
once he dropped it on his album is when it took off. And people started kind of looking my way at that point too. But then, if you know the producer Stu,
Hmm.
Stu did the remix, and that joint got 1 million streams. And I was
Holy
just
shit.
like, this was 20, had to be 14 by that point, 2014, by the time it had 1 million streams. And I was just like, what's happening? What are we doing? I'm just, I have no knowledge of the game of any kind. I'm just trying to do my thing. And that was it, man. Just those moments took everything off for us. So when we noticed that that song could connect like that, we were like, all right, cool, man. Maybe we should do something else. So I was like, I hit him up about trying for an EP. After one song, I don't know, that sounds crazy, but after one song, he's got all this, much more stardom and everything. I'm just like, yo, would you do an EP with me? And he's like, sure. So he sends me a pack over, and I remember I had recorded 2 songs that day, the same day he sent it, and sent it right back to him. And that made him even more excited. So as he started making more new stuff, he would send some more. So we finished this project, and I'm ready to drop it like somewhere near or after South by Southwest of 2014. And we wanted to put it out through Selection, and at the time they had a lineup of releases, and so
Yeah,
we were,
Selection has been killing shit forever.
bro, they had like this person's dropping, that person's dropping, that person's dropping. So we had to wait. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever, a month or two. And a month or two turned into a year. And I was just like, man, I got this. We need to drop this, nigga. Like, this is
Yeah,
my
facts.
newest music, blah, blah, blah. And their whole thing was like, if it's timeless, then it's still going to be fire when we drop it. And I'm like, nigga, whatever, drop it. But it was true. That was the truth.
It
It
was
was the
true.
right, that was the right time, man. We dropped it, and people don't know that it was made an entire year earlier. They just connect to it then and there. And that changed everything, man. So Sango taking that first chance on me just led to everything else you've ever heard from us. And that made a bond. Like, we didn't actually work together face to face until 2019. I went out to Seattle. So everything was through, like, we were just in the files.
Crazy.
But we had so much of the same mindset, a similar mindset in life and faith. We're compatible in our in our friendship and our ways. He actually kind of nudged me to change my name. I don't think he meant to, but he did. He took me on tour with him to Europe, which was my first time ever in Europe. That was 2016, and we were riding in an Uber. And their Ubers are cool because like some of their trucks, like, you can face each other. So
Hmm.
we're facing each other, and he's random. He'll be listing his top 5 sandwiches, and then he just randomly was like, "So when you gonna change your name?" And I was like, I was not even thinking about it. I was like, I didn't plan to. He's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Nigga, what? You mean, oh, okay? Like, you said that, like, I must do it." And so he was like, "No, that's not a big deal." And when we got back from the tour, I sat down with my manager and his assistant and was just like, all right, so what are some possible names that we could go to? We just went with my first and middle. But he had such an impact on my name change, on the opportunities I've received, the money we've both been able to make with each other, for each other.
That's beautiful, man.
Um, it's just been so cool. So we wanted to tour together on our last tour. Um, the politics of headlining and co-headlining and blah blah blah, it just gets in the way. This manager, that manager, this agent, that agent, it gets too much. So we just did them around the same time of each other and tried to be
Oh,
at each other's city when we could.
that's fire.
But yeah, man, we've become really good friends. Our wives are really good friends. They are texting all the time. We've got a group chat with the 4 of us. Like, it's just good stuff, man. Yeah.
And all this happened because of Twitter.
Because of Twitter, because he hit me one time and was like, I like this song. Would you like to make a song? And I was like, sure.
Can we talk about one of my favorite records? The record that I think I play at least like once a day, which is the Just Get Here record with Wale and Big
Yeah.
Just. Yo, listen, the fact that you have a Wale feature, I think when it comes to features, he is the best at the R&B shit. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like not even close. So talk about how that record came to be and just how like it's still a special record. Like I play it all the time.
That is one of my favorite stories to tell because
Hey,
Wale, I tried to not be a fanboy about it, but I had to tell him how much everything meant to me. I waited till after he recorded it, but I had to tell him how much everything meant to me because I grew up, I kind of found myself, my personality, my identity, and I was making my music in Waldorf, Maryland, which is
mhm.
in Charles County, and my church was in PG County. And anybody that knows anything about the DMV area, PG County reigns supreme, and just so much flows through that area. Go-go music and all the culture is very unique. And when I was moving from Maryland to Georgia for my freshman year of high school, one of the only DMV thing I had to hold on to was Wale had just dropped a project called Paint a Picture. So I was listening to that a whole bunch. I think it was one of his first mixtapes. He had another one, and then eventually, I remember he had dropped Nike boots, and we went crazy because he got the Wayne feature. Like, yo, they
Yeah.
got the Wayne feature Nike boots, and then not too much longer after that, he got the pretty much the only Gaga feature in existence with Chillin'.
Which is
Uh,
crazy because it's a rap record. It just
yeah,
everything about the Wale debut album is interesting to like look back at.
yeah. And I had been following him since his time with Mark Ronson in London.
Wow.
So he just it meant a lot to me to be able to have that connect. So when he hit me and was showing me love, first of all, I'm thinking about how big of a star he is and how he doesn't have to do this. So it just means so much for somebody of his caliber to do that. But he took it beyond just like, yo, let me just do a record. He knew that I'm like a really big wrestling fan. So
Yo, we're gonna talk about wrestling too. I'm so glad you fucking said that.
he knew I'm a big wrestling fan, so he invited me to Wale Mania, which happens during WrestleMania. And I couldn't make it to Wale Mania, but I was able to make it to WrestleMania, and I was with him. So we were like floor seats. I got photos when Kofi Kingston became the first full-blooded African American to
You were
win a
there?
championship. I was right there in the front row, well, second row with Wale and his people. Um, it was really cool. Very, very cool. As you know, like he made Big E's theme song.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
listen, I think I like wrestling more almost as much as I like hip hop and shit.
uh,
So the fact that you went to WrestleMania the year Kofi, that's fucking historic.
yeah, bro. And it was my first and obviously right now only WrestleMania. But it's coming to Dallas, so hopefully he lets me ride with him again. But yeah, he picked me up and everything. Picked me up from my Airbnb, took me there, made sure I got home. He's a great guy. He didn't have to do any of that. And so when it came to the record, he just heard that me and Sango were about to do another project.
Hmm.
And all he said was, I gotta get on the record. Like it don't matter, just I gotta get on it, send me something. So originally, Just Get Here, man, this song is a full story.
I'm here for it.
Originally, that beat was they had already given that beat to Alan Kingdom. So
Huh.
I remember I had seen he made like a whole like promo thing on Twitter and everything, where he was just doing his just having fun, like rapping over it. So when I heard the beat, I was like, yo, I heard this. Like, this is Alan Kingdom. I said, yeah, I was like, I really love it, but obviously I'm not gonna mess with it. So it was Sango and Chris McClinney in the room, and they're like, yo, I'm gonna just hit him real quick because we never like really settled on what he was gonna do with the record, if it was official or what.
For sure.
So apparently it was just in that text message, Alan Kingdom was like, oh, we good. Like, no, you go ahead, use it. I'm like, oh, dope, which is cool. I met Alan one time, so maybe that helped out. But it was just cool. Like, he just kind of gave the beat up. So they went in and reworked it a bit, put the idea together. I knew I wanted a female vocal of some kind.
Hmm.
First I was thinking like Neo or like who could I get on this record to make it feel good? Then of course Van Jess they just killed it. It was great. They did it so easily. But Wale had rapped in the spot that Van Jess is, like the beat, the way that it sounds on their verse is how he rapped.
Huh.
So Sango is such a genius that he just basically took his verse, moved it out the way, gave Van Jess the spot, and then he made a beat halftime in the same key to better fit Wale's vocals. Because the energy and everything that you hear on Wale's vocals is the original recording to
Oh
the original
shit.
beat. So when Kyrie worked it and he made the beat match his vocals in the tone and in the feeling, and that made I was like, yo, this is a different song. Like this is amazing. And it
Yeah.
just really lifted up everything, bro. So it's a long song and it's got a long story, but it's one of the ones I'm most proud of. Not, I don't love the way I recorded on it, to be completely honest with you,
Hmm.
but I'm still so proud of it because of what everything means to me on that record. From working with Van Jess for the first time, working with Wale for the first time, and just kind of seeing life come full circle in so many ways in that moment. So, yeah, man, that joint. And it's really cool live too because we do it with a Nola bounce beat and people love it. So
Man, I missed the Boston show. A lot of people in here are like referring to that being their last show. I missed the
yeah,
Boston show. Next time you're on tour, I need to go. Super quick question because I
yeah.
don't know if you're peeping the comments. Is it true your first rap name was Trell?
Oh God, who said it? LA probably said it. Huh? Is LA in here?
Yes, he did. He's been in here trolling this whole time.
I wasn't able to read it. So first of all, this nigga, he says fun fact because his single is called Fun Fact. So stream Fun Fact, everybody, and stream Separated.
Wait,
Um,
he just said he's gonna get out of here. Before you get out of here, before he goes, we got to get an interview. I'm gonna tap in with you after.
look, I we don't need to go through the list of his rap names. He don't want to do that. We could go through a list of his rap names. But instead of that, this like getting low. All right. But instead of that, yes, Trell was my first rap name. As I said, I was 12 years old when I first started making music. So I don't even know how I got there, but it was like an acronym, and who cares what the acronym was because it's stupid. And I got rid of it and eventually went to Spazzy Rocket because I was nicknamed Spazzy by a girl that I was in college for like 2 months max, and was
Hey,
cool with this
I
girl
feel you.
named I was cool with this girl named Autumn. So we'd hang out at the cafe, and when we would get there, they have music videos on like MTVU or whatever. So at the time, NERD had just dropped Spaz, and Pharrell does this like kind of stupid. What, you got a NERD tag?
Yes.
Yo! So they had just dropped Spaz, and Pharrell does this like dance in the video. So I would get up and do the dance. So she started calling me Spazzy
With the
because of that.
fucking weird dance he was doing on stage with like his legs, and I remember I used to copy that
Yeah.
shit in middle school all the time.
Yeah. So that's where that name came from. I added the rocket because the group that I was in was doing this like space theme, whatever.
Hmm.
And then chopped off all the vowels when I went solo because I couldn't think of a better name. And eventually, morphed to this. But yeah, that was one, two, three, four name changes. This man LA got at least 16. So if he want to
Hey,
put people on blast.
again, the people in the comments are like, make sure you interview him. If he wants to talk about all his name changes, we can do that.
He,
I actually
Go
go.
ahead, go ahead. No, I'm
No,
not gonna
you
mess
first.
with
You
him
first.
more.
You first. You first. Oh,
I was
damn.
gonna say even the meaning of LA has changed more than once. So this guy.
So I'm glad you brought up Pharrell and NERD because I read a few times that's like your dream collab.
Oh man, yeah, yeah.
Talk about just like just Pharrell as a whole. Why that's your dream collab? Because I mean I love Pharrell. I actually named my son after him, so I can only understand how much you might love Pharrell if that's your dream collab. I have to hear. I have to. I just want to like gush over how
Hey,
much we love Pharrell.
I'm gonna answer that. Let me turn this light on now that the sun has gone down.
Okay, we about to get the good light in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it like not so ridiculous on my face.
Hey, I feel you, dog.
Um, so I'm a massive Pharrell fan for many reasons, but you kind of just at some point you looked up and realized how many hits he made in your lifetime. And it's just like, this nigga is crazy. Like, who does this? And then you start thinking about the longevity of it all, how much that really takes to do,
Hmm.
and to still be so creative. And just, obviously everything is not going to be a hit, but he's not afraid to try anything. I don't know what genre this man is. Who cares? He's Pharrell.
He's
Like,
Pharrell, yeah.
just go for it. What he's done with the Neptunes, what he did with NERD, what he's done by himself. He's got a rap album and a pop album as a solo artist. Um, he is innovative in so many ways. He changed the way that I think about the type of music I should make, like whether or not I should just stick to this or just stick to that.
Hmm.
It's like, man, when I listen to the dude produced hella good for No Doubt, but he also produced Drop It Like It's Hot for Snoop, but he also produced a whole Ariana Grande album. And it's just like, it's like, yo, this
Dude,
man
he
can
got
do
Bow Wow
anything.
records.
Yeah, dude,
He
the
got
first
little
time I
Bow
ever
Wow
heard of
records.
him was it 95 or 96? I was an absolute child, but I was still trying to learn. My brother was so into music, I was learning about a lot of people at the time, learning about Rough Riders and Missy Elliott and Timberland, and like getting real specific about who produced what and trying to being able to hear that.
Hmm.
And so I knew that I really liked this joint. Why you over there looking at me? Why my girl standing? Like that joint on the Mace album, right?
That shit's
And
amazing.
I just love that beat. And so eventually, like back then, of course, you had the liners and all that. And I found out who produced it and started realizing I could notice over time when Pharrell produced something.
Yep.
Just it was just I've been in love since then, just with the work that he does. So I've got I don't know if we can really see it here. I have a Get Lucky tab,
Ooh.
and obviously that's Daft Punk, Pharrell, and Nile Rodgers, and that's because you know who everything that Pharrell is to me. Like I just said, Daft Punk being able to love music and love creating more than fame. I
Hmm.
think that that duo represented that so much because the people who know who they are the people that need to know who they are. Like
Absolutely.
even though you know their names, you might be able to find their faces somewhere. You also might go to IHOP or somewhere and not know it's them. Like who knows? We may have walked past them before. We just don't know. And to me, that's so important because they're Grammy Award-winning artists and they've been on top of the world and they don't care if you know them or not. And it's just that just meant a lot to me as far as like the love of the music. And then with Nile Rodgers representing the soul and being innovative in his time as well, and kind of bridging the gap between um, the eras before me and the eras that I'm in now.
Hmm.
So, and then of course just the title "Get Lucky" itself. Even though I think a lot of people probably take it sexually, I take it as like we're up all night to get lucky, as in we're working so hard on this music all night. We're trying to raise the bar.
Hmm.
We're making all these records, hoping to get lucky one day, and one of them pops. Like that's the way I take it with these musicians, and yeah, it just Pharrell means a lot.
I really. What do you think if if you can get the studio Pharrell ASAP? What's the records that you're gonna be like? This is kind of what I want to emulate. Like, what are the Neptune's record? What does a Xavier Omar Pharrell record sound like in your head? Like, what are the records you tell him to?
It's too is he's too unpredictable to
You
really
right.
to lead him somewhere because I'm gonna let him lead me. To be
Mm.
honest, like listen to the music, or whatever you've heard from me so far that's got us to this point. What do you want? Where do you want to take me now? Because he's the type of guy that can do that for artists. He can lead them to where they're gonna go next, and I would just allow him to do that and just take a stab at stuff, man. Because I wouldn't have made Neon Guts, but I love that song.
Yeah. No.
Like I love Neon. That song, it's simple, but to me it's fire because it is so simple. Um, I wouldn't have said, "Oh, Pharrell's gonna go work with Ariana Grande." on a complete album. There's a bunch of stuff he's done that I would not have said he's gonna do. So I just can't. I'm not gonna go lead a genius. I'm gonna let him lead me and see what happens from there.
Man, I really hope that record happens because as a fan of both you and Pharrell and obviously Neptunes and everything, I think it would be incredible. And just the
Yeah.
like everything he does, especially when he's in his R&B pocket. Oh my God.
Yeah. I would love to hear it more often because you don't hear it a whole lot. It's specifically the R&B space. So
Nah,
would
for
love
sure.
to.
That's like one of my favorite spaces for him. We briefly touched on your love for WWE. Let's talk about like just favorite wrestlers. I just want to talk WWE with you real quick.
Man, I don't know if Jose is still here. I think I saw him briefly. But San Antonio, Texas, man, we have birthed the greatest wrestler of all time. His name is Shawn Michaels.
All facts.
He is the greatest to me. They say greatest in-ring performer, which
Hmm.
I mean that you perform in the ring. That makes you the best wrestler. So, Shawn, hold on. To all Christian singer, clean, you know, I love your music. You don't need to work with ungodly artists. No brainer. Okay. So she's saying, I want the old Christian singer Spazzy Rocket, clean. I think she's trying to say decent, but it says decent. Clean, decent music, even though I love a lot of your music, but you don't need to work with ungodly artists. No bueno. Okay. I don't know how we truly get to judge the complete character of whether someone is godly or not, depending on just how you judge them or what you think about them. We see pieces of people's lives, and maybe everything that we see isn't the greatest of fruit or the greatest of things. But I don't know anybody personally who's ever gone through life with um, without a blemish in any kind of way, purposely
All
or not.
facts.
So to say that is to me kind of odd, but also um, I'm. It doesn't matter what my name is. I'm the same. As a
Hmm.
matter of fact, I'm deeper in my faith than I've ever been because I've trusted God more than I've ever had to before to get anywhere. I only live in San Antonio because I felt led by God to do so. Um, you can. I'm glad you still love some of the music. Um, I don't know. I don't like when people come from that thought process because to me it's like a holier than thou type of thing. Like
Absolutely.
it's not out of love. I think people think it is when they say stuff like that it's out of love. Like, oh, bring back the old you, but God has done a new thing, so why would I bring back the old me? The old me has passed away, so I'm good on that. Like every day become better. Um, but yeah, stuff like that, man. I need to. I didn't mean to kill the vibe, but I need to address
Nah,
stuff
I,
like
I
that
love
because
that you addressed it. That's important.
that's not that's not it, bro. That's not the way to speak to anybody you don't have a relationship with. Number one,
Hmm.
and also art is so subjective. Art is creation. To make art is to have a piece of what God has given you.
Absolutely.
And if I can help people, it doesn't matter who I'm doing it with. Pharrell just did stuff for a whole gospel album, a whole gospel choir. Like there's a whole record on gospel radio right now. It's produced by Pharrell. So I don't know where people get stuff like that from. But anyway, let's move on. Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak Kid, man. Obviously, here's a guy with a ridiculous past who also changed, which is
Hmm.
a cool segue.
Incredible segue, actually. I was gonna say that.
He's a guy who isn't proud of everything he did in his past, but even in that, he inspired me so much. I would never wrestle. I'm not an idiot. Don't want to get slammed, but his character, him being the little guy that took over, came into the giant land and became champion, all that stuff. His story, his work ethic, like that inspired me even before he became a far better man than he was in the past. So you can be inspired by, you can still be, people can still be used by God, even if they're not necessarily where you feel they should be. So let's dead that. Anyway, Shawn Michaels. Number two is really difficult for me. At one point, I had AJ Styles there.
Okay.
He's not there anymore because it's got to live and breathe. He's still wrestling, so it can move up and down.
The fact that he's that high is incredible, though.
He was there, man. Like just in his WWE run alone, he was there,
Yeah, and that's
and
not even
that's
talking
crazy.
TNA.
Yeah, and he was, he was amazing before he got there. But even just, I want to say, 16. I think that's when he got there. About 16 to somewhere
Yeah,
around 18 or 19 was incredible from him. But I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan is my number two
trained by
because
Shawn Michaels.
yes, trained by Shawn Michaels. Here's why I say that as people leave as I talk about wrestling. Um, here's why I say he's number two. Who was the biggest babyface? Who had the biggest babyface WrestleMania before Kofi? Like pretty much
Daniel.
ever. Daniel Bryan, right? The whole thing was based on him. And then the next biggest babyface was Kofi, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Kofi was the next one to have that big moment. Who was the heel in that match?
Daniel Bryan.
How do you do that? Like, who else has done that? To
Wrestling
be
special.
to be the biggest babyface in like modern history at WrestleMania, and then to be the heel to the next biggest one is you have to be an ungodly amount of talented to pull that off. So I put him there, and then just if you just want to talk about just wrestling, I still put him there. Obviously, my list is going to be strictly WWE because that's all I watch. But third, I put Randy Orton just because I love the character. If you were to make a wrestler, you make Randy Orton.
You,
So
you
and
excited for him in Soldier Boy?
yeah, because Soldier Boy needs to take a couple RKO's, a couple backbreakers, and we'll see how he's talking after that.
Facts.
Yeah, that's it. That's my top three for my wrestlers.
I can very much respect that.
Look, there's not too many holes you can poke in that. I have it must not be in here anymore. I have a signed Bret Hart Funko Pop toy, but I don't know where it is now. But Bret is up there as well. Obviously, people like to talk about like The Rock and Stone Cold, but to me, they were just really big characters, not
Mm-hmm.
great wrestlers.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
Stone Cold's that great of a wrestler per se. His character was incredible. Obviously, The Rock's The Rock.
yeah, he's
Jericho's my number one, personally.
Jericho. Now he does have a great body of work. I
He
can't.
does.
I was gonna say I can't say nothing about that, but I don't think he's number one. But he's an all-time great for
For
sure.
sure. He's my favorite. I guess number one. Honestly, though, I feel like it's kind of like the rap thing when like you ask someone's top five, like the same specific people will come up. Because not for nothing, Shawn Michaels is top two, like
Yeah,
for me, he's like the greatest ever. But he's in my
yeah,
list no matter how I flip it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fully agreed.
Yo,
Old school
first, I
wrestlers.
love this conversation. By the way,
Man, it's fun. It's cool. I
no,
haven't
this
I haven't done any. I haven't even shown my face. Remember, I told you I had that style in my eye, and you can
you did tell me
see
that
there's even still like it's small now, but that was my whole eye at one point.
your skin's
So
glowing though. I can
uh,
appreciate that. Your skin's glowing. I can appreciate that.
yeah, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I got man. My wife got me some hymns. You feel me? I got to get it going on me. You feel
You,
me?
you got the
So
human race.
hey, I was thinking about that earlier actually, but I didn't get it yet.
Hey, next time I get like cause since I bought it once, next time I get like a free like a access early, I'm a DM it to you. You need
Oh,
that in your life.
yeah.
You need that in your life.
My boy Thilo is using it, and I'm thinking about it. I don't take a whole bunch of time on the whole skincare thing, to be honest. I take my shower, I clean my face, and I get my lotion, and now I got the hymns, but I hadn't really paid a whole lot of attention to it. But I think I will now because I like the hymns.
Hey, it feels good. Trust me. And I've been seeing Theo's journey too because I follow him
Yeah,
on Twitter as well.
that man. Yeah, he's incredible.
Before we leave, let me ask. I've seen people ask a bunch of questions. I'm trying to figure out what's been the most asked. A lot of people obviously been mentioning tours through this whole time. So I guess my last question to you is like, realistically speaking, with this COVID world we're living in, what's the next Xavier Omar concert experience look like, and how quick? Like, are we getting anything virtual anytime soon? Like, what's that look like, and in what capacity?
I think the next experience is gonna be virtual. I've been pushing to do the album virtually uh, for a while. It's just there's red tape the agency, there's like certain ways that it works.
Hmm.
So now it wasn't like this at first, but now because I do need to go through my agents to like help make things like this bigger. They're like, okay, cool. Well, it used to be venues would bid for you per city, but
Hmm.
now like websites bid for you per like per I guess virtual performance.
That's interesting.
So it's really different. And at the moment, they haven't responded about anybody for a while, like
Hmm.
for a few weeks here. So at some point, it's gonna like pop where they're sending in all their offers for everybody. But right now, I'm just kind of waiting to find out what the offers are, if there are any, to do a live show. I want to do the album, but also, I mean, I got a surprise this month as well. I'm
Hey,
not gonna be able to put the full album together the way I want to, but I got to do something that I never thought I'd be able to do, and it's just the perfect time. So yeah, that'll be in a couple weeks, I think it is. Like obviously, I'll announce it more. It's
of
cool to
course.
even be able to say that right now, but yeah, man, I'll be able to really put it out there in a couple weeks. Also, more merch in a couple weeks as well. These joints, this shirt sold out. The long sleeve sold out, and the hoodie is either sold out or there's like two mediums left or something like that. And we're doing new colorways to for the next experience. So I love it. I love the colors we picked for all three. So
The merch is phenomenal. I grabbed the shirt.
shout out Stephen Lexby. Stephen designed all of it. He's been a big part of like my team and making things happen in my life for years now. He's run lights at one tour. He's been the tour manager.
Holy shit.
He's designed t-shirts. He's incredible. So shout out Stephen.
Man, you have an amazing team around you. And honestly, like just talking to you, like I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously, like you've seen the comments. If You Feel's incredible. I'm excited to hear the new music and just see this journey. And I want to thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
I know
man.
you got obligations right after this, so like thank you so much for doing this. Hopefully we can do more stuff in the future. I want to bring you to Rhode Island because you haven't been here. So we're
Man,
going
I
to
have it, and I forget it exists. To be completely honest with you, but
I promise.
bring me
I
there.
I promise when you come to Rhode Island, bro, you're
Yeah,
gonna love it. You have hella fans out here. And it's just awesome. You're gonna fuck with it. Like when we get you booked to Rhode Island, I'm gonna show you a great time. You can keep that on wax.
I'm gonna hold you to it. Like I said, I ain't never been, and I'm excited to see what it's like in general. I don't know. I don't even have a real idea of what it may be like. So I'm excited to see that, man.
It's
Yeah,
gonna surprise you.
my obligation that he's talking about is literally like Bible study. It's like life group with with my church in a few minutes. So yeah, I'm at home, bro. Like I'm taking out the trash and washing dishes and going to church. Like that's what I'm on right now.
I love to hear that, bro. And again, thank you so much for taking the time. Uh,
Yes, sir.
this is super dope. Look, we gotta catch a wrestling show together one of these days too. Once
Oh
shit clears
yeah.
up.
If you get the opportunity, like I said, Mania is in Dallas in 2022. So
I'm
we'll see what
I'll,
it's looking like because
I'll
that's
pull
early
up.
2022.
I've never been to a WrestleMania, so I will pull up. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Let's see what it's looking like because if I don't know, bro, they wild on these. It's still Texas.
Yeah, you're right.
They
You're
wild.
right.
So we'll see what they talking about if people still alive. So and then we'll move from there. Make sure we're living and go from there.
If we're living, we're going to WrestleMania in 2022.
Yes, sir.
All right, my G. Have a good one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will drop this on YouTube soon.
Thank y'all.